All right, welcome back. So today we're going to go way beyond just, writing a simple prompt. We're diving deep into how you get that professional grade reliability, and I mean absolute control over your AI models right inside Amazon Bedrock. This is all about getting your AI ready for the real world, ready for production. So let me ask you a question. Is your AI acting like a totally unreliable intern? You know the one I'm talking about? They've got good intentions, but man, they just improvise when they shouldn't. They make stuff up, but we all call hallucinating, and sometimes they just straight up ignore what you told them to do. If any of that sounds painfully familiar, then you are definitely in the right place. See, the fix here isn't just about tweaking your prompt a little bit. The real game changer is a total mindset shift. You have to stop thinking about prompts as these casual requests and start treating them like ironclad legal contracts. Think about it. An ambiguous prompt, that's basically an open invitation for chaos. But a tight, really well-defined contract, that forces the AI to be predictable, reliable, and maybe most importantly, safe. Okay, so here's our game plan. We've already met our unreliable intern. Next up, we're going to actually build your AI's legal contract. Then I'll share the one golden rule of prompting you absolutely need to know. After that, we'll get into some ironclad techniques for reliability, talk about managing prompts like you manage code, and we'll wrap it all up with the final verdict. All right, let's get into it. First things first, we're going to establish our courtroom. Before you can write a solid contract, you've got to understand its structure, right? So we're about to break down the complete anatomy of a prompt, specifically for Amazon Bedrock. Bedrock's Converse API gives you this whole suite of really powerful controls. Let's break them down. The system prompt, think of that as the Constitution. It's the highest law of the land for your AI. Then you've got messages, which is just the conversation history. Tool config and guardrail config, those are like your rules of engagement and your security guards. Inference config, that's your creativity dial. You can turn it up or down. And prompt variables let you build reusable templates. The key here is knowing which knob to turn and when. This is so important to get. An AI model actually follows a power structure, a clear hierarchy, and your job is to make that hierarchy explicit. At the very top, you have the system rules. Again, that's the Constitution. Then come your rules as the developer. Then comes the user's request. And only after all that does the model look at context from documents, your few-shot examples, and finally, the output format you've demanded. Getting this order right is absolutely crucial for staying in control. Okay, now we're going to build on that with what I think is the single most important principle in professional prompting. Seriously, this is the #1 reason AI applications go off the rails or, even worse, get attacked. And here it is. This is the golden rule. Treat user text and retrieved documents as untrusted data, never as instructions. Let that sink in for a second. What this means is you can never, ever let a user's question or some random document you pulled from a database hijack your AI's core mission. That stuff is evidence, it's not the law. So how do you actually put this rule into practice? Well, it's a simple 4-part pattern. First, all your non-negotiable rules, your constitution, they have to go in the system prompt, period. Second, you have to quarantine any outside data. Wrap it in really clear markers like context start and context end. Third, you tell the model explicitly, hey, this stuff is just for reference, it is not an instruction. And finally, you add another layer of defense using Bedrock guardrails to act as a security filter, catching those potential injection attacks. Okay, we've got the golden rule down. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the specific, practical techniques. Think of these as the precision tools you're going to use to build an absolutely airtight case for reliability, so you can get those production-grade outputs every single time. Let's talk about few-shot examples for a minute. A lot of people fall into this trap of thinking that more examples is always better, but it's not. The real power here is in precision teaching. You use them to enforce a consistent style or a specific format. And even more importantly, you use them to teach the model how to handle weird edge cases, like what should it do when information is missing. And here's a huge critical warning. Never, ever, ever put sensitive personal information into your examples. Just don't do it. This next one is, in my opinion, the absolute backbone of any reliable AI application. I'm talking about schema-first outputs. So instead of asking for a big block of text, you demand perfectly structured data, like JSON. Why? Because it means your application isn't just guessing what the AI meant. It's getting clean data that it can immediately parse and validate. It's a game changer. And here's how you actually enforce that schema. It's a brilliant 2-layer defense. So step one is in the prompt itself. You command the model, your output must match this schema exactly. But you don't just trust it, that's where step two comes in. Your backend code takes the output, tries to validate it, and if it fails, you automatically trigger a retry, basically telling the model, nope, that was wrong, fix your own formatting mistake. And of course, this whole reliability thing extends to tools and agents too. You have to be super explicit. You need to instruct the model to only call tools when it's absolutely necessary and to never guess at the parameters it needs. But just as important is teaching it how to refuse things safely. If the input is missing, or if a user asks for something that's off limits, it needs to have a safe, predefined response, not just make something up. Okay, so far we've really been focused on writing one single high-quality prompt. But let's be real, in the real world, you're going to have dozens, maybe hundreds of these things. So let's level up the conversation from just writing a single legal case to managing an entire law firm of prompts, professionally. And the good news is, Amazon Bedrock gives you the exact tools to do this. With Bedrock Prompt Management, you can version your prompts just like code commits. You can create templates with variables to keep your logic clean and separate from your data. You can test prompts right there in the console before they ever see the light of day. And you can even A/B test different versions in your app to see which one actually performs better with real users, using real metrics. And please, please don't forget this. This is a crucial point that gets overlooked all the time. You have to treat your prompts like critical pieces of code. And what does that mean? It means you maintain a golden test set, a collection of inputs that cover all the important cases. Every single time you change your prompt, you run it against this test set to make absolutely sure you haven't accidentally broken something that was working just fine before. Wow, we have covered a ton of ground, haven't we? From those foundational rules all the way to advanced tooling. So now, let's bring our whole courtroom metaphor together for the final verdict and wrap up everything we've learned. This slide just pulls it all together so perfectly. Think of it this way, right? Your system rules, that's the Constitution. It overrides everything else. The user's input, that's just witness testimony. You have to evaluate it. You don't just blindly follow it. The context documents you provide, those are your evidence exhibits. Your few shot examples, those are the precedent from past cases. And the output schema, that is the official court form. If it's not filled out exactly right, the case gets rejected. Simple as that. So here's the bottom line. Getting a reliable, professional-grade AI isn't about finding some magical phrase or some secret prompt nobody knows about. It's not magic. It's engineering. It's all about applying structure, demanding clarity, and maintaining control through a really well-defined process. So we've laid out the entire legal framework for you to control your AI. The contract is written, the rules of the court are clear, so the only question left is, are you ready to take your seat on the bench and be the judge?